Hi there, everybody. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
Hi, everybody. It's Jolé Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet, and we would like to welcome you to today's show. And you might be wondering, who are you, Elevated Planet, and what do you do? Well, we just want to let you know that we're here to really help us take all of the powerful and positive lessons from the past so that we can build the future, a future of unspeakable beauty to raise the frequency and vibration of humanity collectively. We're really here to do that, and we're also here to highlight the other light workers, and their information that's in alignment with us and what we believe in and our values, right? So we sometimes will cut up people and we will chop them up because if we were to put the whole show on, right, John, it would
Yeah.
be too long. We couldn't do it. But we are not here to distort.
Excuse me.
Oh, no, we're not here to distort in any way or to misrepresent anyone. But what we're really trying to do is collectively open the hearts and minds of mankind so that we can heal each other, ourselves, and just move into unspeakable beauty, create a new reality where we're all connected. Our minds and hearts are connected. And with that being said, John is going to tell us more about the amazing guests that we'll be highlighting with today's show.
Yeah, thank you, Jolé. Yep. Very well said. Yep. I mean, we're out there often standing on the shoulders of giants, if you like,
Exactly.
bringing them forward into our collective. Because there is some amazing people out there. And this is one thing that blows my mind, Jolé, is like, we know we've got the greats of Dr. Joe and Greg Braden and Dr. David Clements and so many more that we've focused on in recent times. And you think, wow, how much better can it get with all these people? And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden you stumble across somebody like Dr. Samuel B. Lee, who is less well known at this point in time, but not for long. And also gratitude to the community. It might have been Donna who mentioned this. I can't remember who actually raised Samuel Lee to my attention going back about 3 weeks ago and say, recommending that we check out his work. And I've got to say, I had the opportunity to do that early this week. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, wow, this guy is so much next level that there is so much information to share. And one thing that I would definitely say is that this is one where, again, at the end of the show, attached beneath will be the link to the specific podcast from which we have extracted our, 20 minutes or 20 minutes ish kind of part of the show today. But the show itself, or the original podcast, is over an hour and 20 minutes. And that's an hour and 20 minutes of pure gold, right? So
Yes.
the frustration of it is that if we'd have had like 8 hour show instead of like a 1.25 hour show, or what it turns out to be, I would have loved to have just broken this down because it's so empowering, practical steps that we can take within ourselves individually to activate certain factors within our bodies that and within our DNA, and the totality of who we are, the explanations behind it. I just find it so good. So, and also I would say with deep gratitude to Body to Being podcast, which is Shlloka, who you will see as being the interviewer of Dr. Samuel Lee. And she's very good. She asks a lot of good questions, which is one of the reasons why the content for the whole show is as strong as it is. So thank you. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to switch screens and we are going to go to our first sample of Dr. Samuel Lee. Bear with me a second.
There are several versions of me existing right now as we speak, and I was shocked to learn of the number, so I'd love to hear it from you. There are more than 1,000 versions that exist, so please tell us about this.
Sure. So Jesus said one time, I am the vine, okay, one soul stream, okay? It's one energy, like a vine. You are the branches. The branches from the tree, there's 12 branches. So the 12 apostles, the 12 knights, Arthur and the 12 knights. So their soul family is 12. And when one soul comes in, it splits itself through electromagnetic fission into different timelines, existing as 12 individual self, but there's actually coming from one soul stream. So it's like one energy becomes 12 when it comes to Earth. Okay? So this is what you call like your soul family. Now, remember the soul, there's an oversoul. So when one oversoul comes in, it splits into 12 souls. And one soul splits itself into 12. Okay? So then, remember I said the avatar. So one avatar becomes 12 oversouls. One oversoul becomes 12 souls. So when you add, so 12 individual, 12 soul, 12 oversoul, 12 avatar. So what's 12 times 12 times 12? 1,728 simultaneous versions of me existing right now on different timelines. And so this is why the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? They're trying to portray this, that there's different versions. And when you go into 0 point, you can connect with different versions of you if you want.
So where would these versions be? Would they be here on Earth, or can they be in multiverses or parallel universes?
Good question. It can be both. So there's a parallel Earth. There's different timelines on Earth. There's different. Remember, there's no time. On a certain frequency, there's no time. So yes, they can be existing in different locations and different times and different parallel Earths, all simultaneously.
So you're saying Earth has multiple timelines. You and I perhaps are experiencing one timeline, and there could be several such timelines?
Absolutely. Yes. There's many, many, many timelines. For example, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency. So World War I, World War II, World War III is the same frequency. It's a loop. It's a loop, a time loop, right? And if enough of the collective consciousness does not evolve, and they say, okay, we're separate from each other, let's fight each other again. Well, if the collective consciousness decides what timeline they're on. So if enough of the collective consciousness is in fear and they want to fight each other, then we're going to repeat World War III, World War IV, World War V, World War VI, right? It's a frequency. It's not time. There's no, if you want to understand the secrets, think in terms of frequency. So then if I'm just, let's just say somebody is continuing to do the same karmic loop, samskara, make the same choice, same thought, same word, same belief, same attitude over and over, they're going to loop in a karmic loop. Doesn't matter what body they have. They're going to be in the same karmic loop. But as soon as someone becomes aware, I'm not going to do that karmic loop again. I'm aware of this loop. I'm going to choose love, not fear. I'm going to choose a higher frequency this time. And I'm going to stay in this higher frequency. Then you exit one timeline and you enter a new cycle, a new timeline.
Okay. So when you say that the soul has multiple exits, is this what it means?
It's a good question. So there's no force in source. For there to be love, there has to be a choice. So if God, source, is love, she always gives choice. So there comes certain points before you come to Earth. Even coming to Earth is a choice. So when you come to Earth, there's a specific lesson that people want to learn. They choose their mother, they choose their father, they choose a specific karmic lesson that they want to learn. And
based on what?
Based on their choice.
The choice would be based on what?
Because Source wanted to know itself in the beginning. God had a desire, and it asked the question, who am I? And it wanted to know itself through you, through me, through 8 billion people. And the only way it could really know itself better was to split itself into different versions of itself. And so there's a very specific science, first creation, physics, where it splits itself, right? Omnipolar, a source particle, splits into electric, magnetic, feminine, masculine, and then that splits itself, and then it becomes a little bit more dense into crystals, right? Crystalline structure, and then a morphogenetic field, and universes and galaxies all existing, and Earth is one of these. And throughout this process, there's a choice, there's a call that's sent out. Hey, we have this planet Earth. They're calling for volunteers. They're calling for people who want to help. And then there's people who have this great love of source and they want to understand source better. So some ancient souls choose to be born to families which are very difficult. They go through abuse, they go through poverty, they go through all these different things because they know that she who is forgiven much can love much. He who has been to the darkest of the darks can appreciate the light. In this unique place called Earth, you can experience polarity.
What are indigo children?
Yeah, so indigo children are, some people call them volunteers. So remember, it's always a choice to come to Earth. So these are some ancient souls who Earth sent out a call, we need help. Humanity has forgotten who they are. So indigo children are contracted children who come to Earth based upon a contract, a soul contract, to help Mother Earth remember. And so oftentimes as little children, they come in with their 4th, 5th, and 6th strand of DNA online, which means that they can remember every DNA strand is a frequency. So they can literally sense frequencies, they can feel things, they can see things that most human beings stuck in 3D cannot. So oftentimes when they come to Earth, the 3D system is going to say something's wrong with this person. Let's put them on psychiatric medications. And they're telling their mom, no, I'm really seeing it. I'm really hearing it. But their mom doesn't believe them, right? So they're coming in on a soul contract and their soul, their frequency is already activated, which is part of their gift. But because society has not understood them, oftentimes they put them on medications or lock them up in a hospital. But actually, they're here to help humanity remember on a volunteer contract. These are indigo children. And there's 3 different, they birth in waves. So in the 70s, there was a birth, and then there was indigo type 1, type 2, type 3, and they have different contracts and abilities, but they're on a service contract to help humanity remember.
The kids who are born in today's day and age, would they be indigo children?
Some of them are. So these days, there's a different wave, if you want to call it. Some are calling them rainbow children. Some of them are calling them crystal children. These days, the kids coming in these days, some of them are coming because the parents have done so much work, clearing the karma, right? Preparing the womb, preparing the vessel, that some very, very, very ancient souls, some of them have never even been born on Earth, are coming in now. And they're coming in to help. And you can tell when you look when you look into some of these children's eyes, they're so clear. They remember everything. And remember, don't believe a word I say. Some of these kids, like 3, 4 years old, they're already drawing these ancient pictures. Like they have the memory with them already. So this is why I really believe the future for humanity is bright, because these children are coming in with codes and service contracts, and they're very, very clear.
Makes a lot of sense to me that the indigo, rainbow, crystal children have been coming to Earth, helping frequencies to rise, much like the hybrid ETs have done for a while now. These children already effectively have the software uploaded and are less vulnerable to the charms of the false matrix. So the false matrix would like to feed them the meds to suppress their talents. So it's really important to get this message out there. We clearly need to encourage these gifted ancient souls rather than suppress them. Interesting also that so many ancient souls choose to be born into challenging circumstances. And this also very much speaks to the contrast that we all came to Earth to experience in one form or another. There was a lot said about frequencies and timelines and how World War I and World War II were of the same frequency as embodied by the collective consciousness at that time. So it stands to reason that unless the collective consciousness becomes more elevated, that World War III and World War IV, etc., would be inevitable. And how do we compute the fact that multiple timelines can exist simultaneously? In conversations with God, God explained to and through Neil Donald Walsh that a good analogy was to think of a computer game where every choice of move that could be made by the player has been written in code into the DVD, thereby providing the appropriate outcome for the moves made. In our holographic simulated reality, we are the players in this game of life that feels incredibly real, where the law of cause and effect is very much in evidence, allowing us to learn and to grow. But every choice I make every day is encoded into my John Drew Game of Life DVD. So the best and the worst outcome is available to me, along with everything in between. And how amazing is that? And I have a lot to say about this 1 to 12 sequencing that Dr. Samuel talks about too, but I'll hold off on that exploration until our live break. So back to the podcast.
So one of the first things I came across when I was looking through your page was 2030, something big is going to be happening in 2030. What's really happening?
Yeah. So in India, you guys know that there's cycles of time. So there's the Kali Yuga era. And in India, I think they say 25,000 something year cycles, right? And so there's, when you enter into, you're exiting one cycle and you're entering into a new cycle, it's almost like there's two train tracks, which are literally polarization of frequencies about to split. And so if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. So the core frequency or the Schumann resonance of Mother Earth, you can measure this, scientists, is increasing. So we're entering into a new era in eternal life wisdom. It's not 25,000 year cycles, it's 26,500 year cycles. So some people say we're exiting the age of Kali Yuga, and we're entering into a new age of Aquarius, which some people call the golden age. But there's no force in source. For there to be love, there has to be a choice. For true love to exist, there has to be a choice. If a big guy on a Harley Davidson motorcycle says to a little girl, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this, that's not love, that's fear. So everybody is now choosing from 2025 to 2030. Love, transparency, respect, unity, holarchy, where we're all equal. Or there's another track, a train going this way. And this train is about fear, false evidence appearing real, hierarchy, competition. And so all of these systems, which are not in alignment with the eternal law of one, which is in law with the eternal source law, is going to be exposed. And we see it happening right now. 5 companies own 90% of the medical system, the political system. And so as the frequency of Mother Earth increases, we're exiting the dark age, and people are going to have to choose once everything is in the light of transparency. In 2030, right, there's going to be a polarization over the next 5 years, and people are going to start to choose. And it does mean we're still going to be in the same location, but the frequency will be completely different. And so the hologram or your life will reflect the frequencies of the choices that we make. And this is going to, speed up. The trains are going to continue leaving on different tracks because time spirals, right? And so as we're exiting one time and we're exiting a new one, there's going to be people who choose to stay on the old train, and there's going to be people who choose to stay on a new train, which is going in to create new systems that are based on transparency, respect, unity.
Mm-hmm. So is this what you call as a time split? You have these two sects of people who are leading different lives altogether with different sentiments and different principles?
Absolutely.
Maybe one is the light and the other is the dark, or positive and negative?
Sure. I would more look at it as just like there is no negative or positive or good or bad. What I would say is different degrees of density, right? So everything is from source, everything is of source, but there will be people who continue to live in density, and there will be those people who choose to live in harmony.
When you say density, can you break this down for me?
Absolutely. So a lot of people refer to the word spirit, okay? But everything is frequency. So Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration. So spirit is an ether or Jolesic radiation on the unmanifest side of creation, which densifies itself into the great avatars. They were able to, the liquid light version of themselves. And then it comes down, we'll talk about it later, the Oversoul is actually a little bit more dense than the avatar. So the Oversoul then becomes a soul, which is the light body, which is a carbon crystalline, less dense version. And then it becomes the human body. Dimension 3 is the mind. Dimension 2 is the emotions. And dimension 1 is the physical body. And so spirit becomes more and more dense as it downsteps itself into consciousness, into a physical body. So on the 3D, third dimension, which most humans think that they're 3D, but actually there appears to be time on the 3D because it's so dense. But when you continue to go up higher and higher in frequency, there is a frequency where there is no time, only consciousness moving through different densities. So when these great avatars of the past, such as Jesus, Babaji, Buddha, when they meditated, they became at one with all, unattached to anything. So their consciousness can go to a place where there's no time or space, and they could see. They could see beyond time or space. And this is the same thing as intuition. When you're in your fourth, fifth, and sixth stranded DNA, or your soul, your superconscious mind, Freud called it, you can have access to information before it happens. No time. So if you follow and flow with your intuition, you can never go wrong in life, because it will lead you to your highest evolutionary potential, right? So this is the concept of density, right? And there's light, and then it becomes more dense as it becomes human.
Would it be right to say that we're talking about this movement from subtle to gross, from subtle body to gross body?
Yeah, that's one way of saying the same thing. Subtle body is the subtle energetic body, and then it becomes gross. And some, scientists will say particle and wave, right? So particle and wave, so like same thing. And this has been proven in science. When you look at and you put awareness, the split lap experiment, it shifts. The awareness brings it into matter. But when it's not, it's just existing as potential.
And we're back. So, yeah, we've covered this a lot of time, but that experiment that Dr. Samuel Lee's talking about there with the intention and you bringing consciousness into those experiments to actually show how particles become matter, and it's that potentiality is out there. And I think that's the one thing I keep learning, is that our potentiality at this particular point in our evolution is absolutely enormous. And this is one of the things that this entire podcast actually really underlined to me, was that, wow, I'm going to watch this time and again, because I'm going to break it down, the entire podcast, that is, because it's so empowering. And we'll get deeper into this. And I do love the idea of this holyarchy, which I'd not heard of before, but that means everybody is equal. So rather than hierarchy, that's where we head into, like on that higher timeline train. And again, I like the fact that he says, this is not about positive and negative. It's about different degrees of density, because everything is of source. And that's right, because it doesn't matter what your role is to play out here on the planet, whether it's a very dark role or whether it's one of the light, it's still aspects of divine energy. And so therefore, to kind of deflect it away from positive and negative into that different degrees of density, and different soul aspects need different, we're all unique, right? So everybody is on that unique journey, and some will prefer to take that longer route round, if you like, and stay on the existing sort of spiral, as opposed to moving on to the new one, which takes us to that more elevated frequency, which in turn, that's when we become the master creators. Well, we've got that ability now, right? And this is the thing. This is the joy of doing this stuff, because you start to realize we are master creators, but for the most part, we've been dumbed down from our true abilities. So now you start to realize we actually have the ability to do so much. And one of the things I wanted to really bring your attention back to is this idea of, Jesus and the vine and kind of thing, like the Jesus and then 12 apostles kind of thing. And he also mentioned about King Arthur and the 12 knights of the Round Table. And one of the things that struck me about that, there was something that I'd read recently again, or reread recently, because this was a book that I've had over a few years. But again, it came back to another Dolores Cannon book. Really, it's just uncovering lost ancient knowledge. And one of the things that Dolores uncovered during one of her sessions with a lady who, it turned out that she was one of the disciples, one of the original disciples, but she was a female disciple, and she was living in France after the crucifixion. She had been there at the crucifixion along with a lot of the other disciples. And then they ended up traveling to France, which was Gaul at the time. And they were there with Mary Magdalene. That's the assumption, is that Mary Magdalene was the head of the section that she was with over in France. And I'm going to just play you this piece here because, again, it comes down to this 1 to 12. But there's another point that sits within this that I'm going to come back to initially after playing this. So this is literally about 40 seconds long. So if you bear with me a second, I'm just going to switch screens once more, and we're just going to play you that from the audiobook. Just bear with me a second.
According to Stuart Wilson and Joanna Prentice in The Power of the Magdalene, The Hidden Story of the Women Disciples, Mary Magdalene left Israel after the crucifixion on board one of Joseph of Arimathea's ships, and her party landed in southern France, which was then known as Gaul. It is stated that there would be a balance of the male and female disciples. There were 6 circles of 12, making 72 male disciples, and 6 circles of 12, making 72 female disciples, a total of 144 disciples in all. Mary Magdalene was part of the first of 12 female disciples. Could this be the same group Betsy mentioned being part of?
The Betsy that she was referring to at the end was the lady who was under the quantum healing hypnosis technique that Dolores practiced and was taken back to this past life in Gaul, where they were protecting the knowledge of from Jesus that had been given by Jesus. And it's quite interesting, actually, because partway through her recounting of the story, she said, oh, yeah, and Jesus came to see us in Gaul at the time. And so obviously this was after the crucifixion. So Dolores asked the question, so did he come in spirit? Or he said, well, he came in person first time, and then afterwards he would visit in spirit. And he was making sure that the teachings were accurate and then to give them more teachings. And the female disciples were the custodians of a lot of the written knowledge. The male disciples were more in charge of the spoken word. So it was safer for men to go around and to effectively, preach the words of Jesus. But for the females, because of the way that the world was at the time, or it was different, it was difficult for women to go around and openly, stand there and tell the story in the same way. They were in charge of the written word and protected it with their lives, basically. Really interesting story. But the point is, 144. So 12 times 12, right? So you've got this thing, Jesus and apostles, and so 1 going into 12. But we have an equal number of female disciples as there are male disciples. And that is really important, because one of the things you learn from a spiritual perspective is that if anything is to carry power going forward, that is the creative power of who we are, it has to be balanced, that yin and yang balance, right? So the fact that the King James version of the Bible, which was written about 400 AD, has stripped out so much reference to any feminine aspects that were within Jesus's life, just because it gave power to the masculine, right? So, and I think that a lot of people realize that, and for some it might not resonate at all, and that's fine. And the other thing that Dr. Samuel Lee mentioned was about, as they say, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Now, one of the things I also know from having read, and we've featured many times, is the Hypnotist Journey to Avalon, written by Sarah Breskman Cosme, is that the wives of the knights were regarded as just important in decision-making when they were planning their effective crusades, where they were going out to help people, help communities, free people, whatever. But the women were, because they also understood that without the feminine and masculine balance, that these things were powerless. So I like the idea, bringing in that, the 1 to 12, 12 then becomes 144, the 144 becomes 1,728 aspects of who we are that's out there right now. Not necessarily in this, dimensional earth exactly as we are now. It could be a parallel version. Who knows, right? Maybe we go to, I know that, we have choices about which planetary systems we might occupy, or, nature of the consciousness that we might be, what race we might be. So I found that really interesting. I thought it was worth just dwelling on that for that particular thought. So, Jolé, what would you care to add?
I love his breakdown of the DNA, and that feminine energy is what is there to help bridge the gap, right? We're so, how do you say it? Doing focus, action focus, which of course we need to be here. But that silence, that nurturing of the feminine energy is what we need to start sort of up leveling and being able to transform our DNA or recalibrate it in a way that lets go, where we receive the powerful and positive lessons from the past. We learn everything we need to learn from that, and then we build our future. That's what it is. And so if we can just take the knowledge and the wisdom in, knowing that we don't really need a middleman between us and excellence, quantum, God, source. But Dr. Lee keeps telling us, source is not the force. You are the force.
Mm.
You're the force. So you take that positive creative energy, just like I say we're trying to do, and you create and you share. And that way you can wake up people. And collectively, if we're all well, that energy reverberates. If we're all kind, if we're all loving, not, all is a real huge word, even though it's small, but if a majority of us get to that point where we're no longer entertaining foolishness, whatever that looks like, that's when we begin, our frequency and vibration begins to rise. And even if we are surrounded by things that maybe don't serve, like he spoke about television, he spoke about media, things like that, we know now with our third eye and with our meditations and guided visualizations how to protect our energy, how to see this for what it is. It's entertainment. It's really not news or information. It's entertainment. It's processed food for the brain. So once you realize that, you can begin to then guide yourself that will feed you the things that reinforce the positive DNA. So that spirit can then make itself manifest through you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that. It's the processed food for the brain is absolutely it's a great way of putting it. And yeah, no, I agree 100%. And as you say, it's the protection thing, because again, I'm in the practice now of doing that every single day, or
Yeah.
whatever time of day or night it might be, and I can kind of visualize that protection and also send it out to my nearest and dearest by the law of grace.
Yes.
Share that, and that's just kind of the standard practice, and I think it does help. It helps you to maintain perspective, because when you are watching the TV and taking in the choices that are out there, and being discerning along the way, the fact is I feel a lot more impervious because of that.
And, each moment is a choice, and I'm learning that, there's so much that even as humanity, no matter who you are, what walk of life, you're still walking through some struggles or some challenges that each day you've got to make the choice. Do I get up and do my routine? Do I eat the arugula or the pizza?
Yeah.
Maybe those are first world problems. Some people are saying, do I live or do I die? But collectively, if we learn to listen to what Dr. Lee is telling us and take the time throughout our day to raise our vibration, we're doing so much for not only ourselves, but for the planet and for other people.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, thanks to the community for the points that are being made as well. And thank you, Donna. Yes, the shirt is very seasonal. I got that from my daughter earlier today.
Yes. Happy holidays. John is saying that with his shirt.
Yes, care of Stephanie, who gave that to me earlier today, pre-programmed, just so that I could spread the love. Okay, so shall we move on to the next section now, Jolé? I think this is
Yes.
going to be one that is very much in your ballpark, where we sort of switch to Dr. Samuel Lee talking about chakras. So, okay, well, here we go.
You spoke about the 3D body, right? The 5D Earth, the 7D Earth. What is this exactly? Very simplistically put.
Sure. I think the easiest way to explain it for most people is every dimension, okay, is a bandwidth of frequency, which is represented by a color, which is represented by a chakra. So when I'm in dimension 1, as you know, it's red. It's the root. Okay, it's a bandwidth of frequency. It's the physical body. And then you go to dimension 2. Orange. The sacral chakra. Oh, the creative center. Oh, it's the emotional body. Right? So the universe is mathematical. And then you go to dimension 3. It's yellow. It's the solar plexus. It's the mental mind. And most humans are stuck in the mental mind. But then you can go to dimension 4, which is green, which is the heart chakra, right? And so there's the dimensions, and the universes come in groups of 3. So dimension 1, 2, 3 is one harmonic universe, if you want to call it. And then there's a specific way you can shift into dimension 4, 5, 6, which is chakra 4, 5, 6. And I know in Vedic wisdom, they say there's 7 chakras, the crown, purple, but there's actually more. And so 4, 5, 6 is the soul, 1, 2, 3 is the physical, emotional, mental, 7, 8, 9 is the oversoul, right? Carbon crystalline body, and 10, 11, 12 is the avatar, inner Christos self. And the human has at least the ability for 12-stranded DNA. So when you talk about Babaji, when you talk about these great avatars, when you talk about Kundalini, remember, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency. So Kundalini is dimension 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it lives at the bottom of the spine. And it can rise spontaneously when it's time to remember that we're multidimensional. Or you can squeeze it up, right, through Kundalini yoga or through breath work and different practices. And but by the way, I love Baba Ramdev. So that's what they're doing, though. They're bringing up the Kundalini yoga, yeah? So this is dimension 1 through 9. And Tesla said the secrets of the universe, 3, 6, 9. But it is not 3, 6, 9. It's 3, 6, 9, 12. So the chakras, every dimension is a color, a level of mind, a bandwidth of frequency, a dimension, and then 3, 6, 9, 12 is the eternal life code, right? And so these great avatars of the past, they've been able to accrete and their morphogenetic field of their 12-stranded DNA. And that is when you have eternal life, and you can do things such as the great avatars, blink in, blink out, right? The great masters. And this is actually a natural ability of every human being if you can activate the language of the DNA. It's not what you see. It's what you do not see. Thoughts, sound, frequency, and light.
Right, and we're back again. And this one, as I say, I'm going to hand this one straight over to Jolé because this is very much her ballpark. And what do you reckon, Jolé?
I think it's wonderful what he says when he speaks about the chakras and the power that's within them. And I know that to be true. In the video, he also goes into how there's other chakras. There's 15 of them. And these 15, I learned, were creative rings. So 8 to 15 are sort of your creative rings, meaning what you want to create, you program the upper chakras, right? And then that energy then communes with the higher self, and then the higher self brings in what it is that you need, with the astral body going out while you're sleeping to get the information, being grounded. Mother Earth gives you that information, moving through the chakras, which, you know, he speaks about it too. Oh my, he's so on point with it. The lower chakras are the physical, and I like to call those the action, right? So how does it work? So what happens is you get this purpose. It comes in the crown. And then what do? The center of your head is there for you to figure out how to interpret this in a way that you can make it manifest for mankind or for whatever reason. Then you speak it into existence. You have enough love for yourself and others where it drops down in the lower chakras, and then you begin to manifest. The arms are creativity. It's what you do, you make. The legs are of movement. So the lower chakras are the physical, and they move you through this experience of the journey. But when you're aligned, all of that information comes in, boom, boom, boom. And it just sort of, now you're in the flow. It puts you in the flow. And when you're programming those creative rings, that is then what helps you with your purpose. So now he's unlocked that for us because we usually stay in the 7, and he speaks about the colors. The colors are very important. He also goes into sound. So these concepts that we look at as every day, like, let me give you an example. A peacock. If you have ever been able to view a peacock and when it opens its feathers, it looks like an otherworldly being. You are actually having access to see something that the creator made that is so magnificent that it looks like it's not even from here. And that's what we have access to. These creatures walk the earth that are magnificent, magical, otherworldly, but that energy is right here with us. So by taking control and understanding, you know what? I'd like to be a multimillionaire. Maybe that's your dream. You program that into your creative rings. You say, this is what I would like for my future to look like. Then the creator gives you purpose, right? This is how you're going to get there. And then it moves down. So that's why it's so important to balance these chakras and stay in alignment, because what it does is it allows you to recalibrate your DNA, let go of some of these blocks, curses, whatever, spells, traumas of your ancestry and your genetic line. And then it also allows you a portal to release it and fill up with something new so that you're always have access to health, to wellness, to abundance, and the laws of the universe. But guess what? It requires cranking at times, right? What does that mean? It requires you sitting down and doing the work. I like to quote Dr. Phil Stutz, and he says it. He's like, you will always encounter pain, and you will always have something that you will need to work on for the rest of your life. It just never goes away. So let's do some of that with joy and opening our hearts and minds and understanding we have the key to that. We are the key.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I've just seen appreciative remarks about Dr. Samuel Lee here as well. You know, I mean, the stuff that you adorn us with on a regular basis, Jolé, is brilliant. It really, really is empowering. And I think that the
Yeah.
information that he comes through with about, activating your 12 strands of DNA, right?
Yes.
And getting access to all the information within your cellular structure. I mean, it's amazing stuff. Again, the totality of the podcast where he goes into even details about hair, right?
Yeah.
Hair being a place where past wisdom is stored, and
Exactly. Past lives. Yeah.
it's
Correct.
crazy stuff,
Correct.
but you just know it's true. And it's so empowering when you get into this. And even in the podcast he talks about, he's asked about Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and it was actually quite encouraging that the stuff that we had understood originally from Elizabeth April and others as well about the fact that, yeah, I mean, if we talk about Donald Trump, he's here as a disruptor. He's here for a very specific purpose. His contract is this. This is what he's about. So again, going back to that thing where, there's no positive and negative, it's just different degrees of density and roles that we are here contracted, like the Indigo children, all the rest, all on a contract to carry out.
And that's why it's important to get neutral so you can see the things for what they really are. Because what's happening is whatever is in control, whatever energy entity is in control of this wants your emotional reaction so that it can farm that energy. It's so powerful. Your energy, our energy is so powerful that it's being sought after.
Yeah.
So once you realize, let me get neutral about this clown show, you know what I mean? Like, let me laugh and understand that it's really about me, my life, my neighborhood, my community. And then from there, I can expand. But definitely in your own home, internally and externally is the focus. But that is like, it's just tea time talk. And then you get rid of it, you let it go, and you move into the positive. But that's why I like to sometimes touch on and sprinkle in the contemporary or the pop music or movies or whatever, because you cannot live in a silo. You've got to know what is going on around you and to be able to, what does the Bible say? We're fighting against principles and principalities and powers, higher powers. It's not about these little distractions. Understand what they are. Oh, I see. That's not a good frequency or hertz I want to listen to. But I'm in the store. Oh, okay, let me put up my roses around my ears and around my aura layer. But it's pretty catchy, You know, so you can sort of make the choice to get neutral and say, this is music. Maybe it's not very good for me, but at the same time, I can protect myself and bop to the music a little. Win-win, right?
Everyone's a winner. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So what do you reckon? Should we head over to the magic of the meditation?
Yes, let's absolutely head over there.
Okay. So Jolé selected this next little last piece here of Dr. Samuel Lee that leads us into her guided meditation visualization. Again, another very powerful piece to lead us in there. So if you bear with me a second, we are going to shift screens and we will do that and bring on the magic.
The DNA projects the hologram. Your reality is created by your DNA. So when you're sending it different input, you can only control your input. Thoughts, words, beliefs, attitudes, your DNA is listening. And if you continuously send it the right thoughts, words, attitudes, and beliefs, it will literally begin to create your reality according to your beliefs. So it be done unto you, right? So this is how we are co-creating through our DNA, through every thought, word, attitude, belief that we have. And we are co-creating. We're the creator, director, and producer of our own movie. But the problem is right now, most of humanity is being brainwashed by television programming, by radio programming. And so your input is coming from a system and from a frequency that is trying to trap you in a frequency fence. But if you can expand your mind, do the pranayama, do the yoga, do the and send it the right thoughts, words, attitudes, and beliefs, then your frequency will start expanding. Your DNA will start projecting a different reality. And this is how powerful we are. And the power is not outside of ourselves. The power is within ourselves in the DNA.
Can you give us one such technique to restructure our DNA?
Yeah. So for your listeners out there, remember, there's no force in source. For there to be love, there always has to be a choice. So if you're at home and if you're listening and you're like, maybe what this doctor is saying, there's a little bit of truth. I'm not sure. I'm curious. Okay? If you are at that point right now, then all I want you to do, if you want, is to say, now, repeat after me, I give permission to my higher self to show me the truth of who I really am. Show me who I really am. I give you permission. Just by saying this, you have communicated with your oversoul, your avatar, your higher self, and it will go to work for you to begin to put into your life the right podcast, the right teacher, the right book, the right technology for you to experience your own multidimensional self. Because once you know, you cannot not know.
Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Take another deep breath in for a count of 5. Hold it for a count of 6. And exhale for a count of 7. Inhale for a count of 5. Hold it for a count of 6. And on the exhale of a count of 7, I want you to relax and say, ah, and just let go. As you bring your awareness to the center of your chest. And you begin to breathe with the rhythm of your body. Command your heartbeat and your breath to get in sync. As you then begin to ground your energy into Mother Earth, with a grounding cord that is 6 inches in diameter, connected to your first chakra. Keep breathing with the rhythm of your body. It is safe for us to ground into Mother Earth as our grounding cord of a natural earth element moves through the layers, the lithosphere, the asthenosphere, and then the core. And Mother Earth, she welcomes you with so much love, so much nurturing. So just for a moment, sit in gratitude for this experience and knowing this, that you chose it. But thank you so much, Mother Earth, for making space for me, for feeding me, for clothing me, for housing me, for having such a beautiful sun, solar system, plants, animals, beings of light, blessings are all around as you ground your energy. And Mother Earth sends those golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles to blanket the inside and the outside of your grounding cord, because she knows what it's time for you to get rid of. And then all of a sudden, your aura is 1.5 feet around you. Your astral body snaps itself into your physical body, ready to give you all the information it gathered on its journey while you were sleeping. And the higher self has come into the power position at a comfortable distance above your crown. Your feet chakras open, pulling in 15% earth energy of a color that resonates with you. Yellow for more personal power, orange for more creativity, red for more safety, prosperity, green for more love and compassion, forgiveness, that indigo color for truth, allowing for that intuition and that throat and that heart to work in tandem as those messages come in from the divine and the higher self. So align your chakras now as you bring in these golden rose-shaped cleaning utensils to clean out your chakras of anything that no longer serves you, anything you're ready to let go of and release, as well as unearthing all of the powerful and positive lessons from the experiences of the past, releasing the negativity down the grounding cord and allowing for our cells to absorb the lesson and all of what was really happening in those experiences. As our crown then opens and that 85% cosmic gold life force energy comes cascading down, raining down like a waterfall on the higher self. It's just beautiful. It's just clear gold, whatever that looks like and means to you, as it then focuses itself down into the crown. Some of it goes, of course, down into the aura layers. And as this begins to saturate the brain and those folds and those neurotransmitters, bringing in mental clarity, emotional health, getting rid of any of the animalistic primal energy that no longer serves, the worry, doubt, and fear that is getting in the way is being resolved, dissolved, neutralized. And that pituitary system, pineal gland, is clean and clear and uncalcified as that gold light goes to work, opening up that ancient programming of that 12-strand DNA as that gold light then moves down into those hormones, regulating them, moving down those arms, opening up those channels of creativity, bringing so much unconditional love and unspeakable beauty into the heart so that it propagates throughout the blood, moving through the body, down, giving that good bacteria and flora and fauna into that stomach, those reproductive organs as it meets that earth energy. And they combine to just superpower your cells, moving out what no longer works, what no longer serves, what can no longer move into this new future of unspeakable beauty. Take a moment as you breathe with the rhythm of your body and allow for Mother Earth and the divine to clean out those 50 trillion cells and activate the 12 strands of your DNA. Open up the necessary parts of the brain to allow us to transcend, moving through pain, moving through struggle. Pain sets us free. Move through it into the 12 strand activation. Let go, release the negativity. Feel this earth energy and this cosmic divine fill up all the systems and the networks in your body, bringing in wellness, aligning you with the laws of the universe. As that earth energy and cosmic life force, the clarity, that clear energy sprouts out of your feet, hands, and crown chakras, filling up your aura layer. It's like a geyser now because your channels are cleaned. And what this does is it illuminates the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th chakras. Activate them. That 12 strand DNA wrapping itself around all of your cells, giving it new information, new programming. And as you sit in this energy and breathe with the rhythm of your body, say to your higher self, I give you permission to show me the truth of who I really am. Speak with your higher self. Give it permission to show you the truth of who you really are as those upper chakras, 8 through 15, activate, waking up that 12 strand DNA. Aligning you with the laws of the universe, filling your body with wellness, safety, creativity, unconditional love, integrity, intuition, and higher knowledge. Create your future. Close your eyes and see your most loving good as this energy courses throughout your body. And while you are building your future of unspeakable beauty that aligns you with the laws, the Creator has put a beautiful golden sun above your head, filling it with everything that you need to lift off after this activation. See the higher self just basking in the glow of this cosmic life force energy and this golden sun. This golden sun is sitting behind the higher self. And once it is filled to the brim with all the things that you need, that sun's going to move forward. And the higher self is going to stand in this. And then it begins to just melt down, down into your crown. It's all your energy, all lifetimes, all planes, all lives, all levels. Your energy has been called back to you. And it is now moving down into your crown, filling up your entire body, moving out into your aura layer, integrating with that earth energy and that cosmic life force energy, powering up your higher self, being guided by your truth. So as you take a deep breath in and exhale, I want you to see these cells solidify within your body and that 12-strand DNA being absorbed. And those upper chakras being activated, those creative rings being given their guidance, their flow, their purpose. So as you sit in this positive energy and breathe with the rhythm of your body, knowing it is safe, you are worthy and deserving to live a future that you create, one of a high frequency and vibration. So take another deep breath in, hold it for a moment. And as you exhale, see that gold light go down your grounding cord, chasing down those golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles into the core of Mother Earth, where they turn into positive creative life force energy for anyone to use, bringing you into the present moment. Your grounding cord is clean, clear, filled with gold light. Always remember, the point of power is in the present moment. As you take another deep breath in, and on the exhale, close your hand chakras, your heart chakra, absorbing all the energy from the lessons and the positive life force coursing through your body. As you take all of the memories and the lessons and you drain out the charge, the emotions, and really know that you are divinely neutral because you're focused on building your life. So on this, take another deep breath in. And on the exhale, visualize that crown closing like the lens of a camera. As you sit in this new energy, this new you, purposeful, clear, prosperous, motivated, and a beacon of light and blessings. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was beautiful. This whole thing about show me the truth of who I really am, right? That
Mhm.
one of the things I'm very mindful of is that over the years, I feel like the right authors are brought to me at the right time. And as he was talking about, the right podcasts appear to you at the right time. And you like that sense of connection there brings that. But to
Yes.
permission that, right, within a meditation.
Yeah. Because then it's like you got that blueprint, you're tampering, not tampering, I don't want to say that's a bad word, but you are getting in and you are recalibrating your
Mm.
blueprint. And that's what it is, and that's that subconscious mind. And when we meditate, we are allowing ourselves a space to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the winter solstice today, right? The
Ah,
21st
yes. What a
December, right?
blessing.
And so, special energies are coming in right now. And everybody's been talking about whether it was the 19th, whether from the Three-Eye Atlas or,
Yeah.
coming through into the winter solstice and beyond. It just seems as though there is a big influx of energies right now, which again talks to that point that was made by Dr. Samuel Lee about the 2025 to 2030. This is
Mhm.
the point at which we are beginning that decision-making process. And there are energies out there to be taken advantage of,
Yes.
that we can use to help ourselves on our journey. So when we, everything is different degrees of density, right? But everything is source. So
Yes.
regardless of the path that people choose, if they decide that they're going to stay with the density, then that is perfectly right for them. But for those who feel called to tap into these special energies, I think that is a super powerful thing. And again, I would so recommend that, you know, people go through the entire podcast, which is in the remarks down here.
Yes, we've linked it.
Yes, as soon as the show's done, basically that link goes in there, and you know, anybody, as soon as you get time, go through it, enjoy it.
It's really good.
Really good, really good. Yeah, and again, from the point of view of the community today, I wanted to just say thank you again to everybody who's been contributing today, and I want to just give a special shout out to Joy Castleman as well, who's one of our favorite people here at Elevated Planet. And I know that from her extended family point of view, they've been going through some challenges recently, and that is, you know, our heart goes out to you. We love you, Joy.
Yes,
family in Canada as well, where the issues have been. So understand that these things, you know, the journey is this is all part of the journey, and it's but you know, it's these things are not easy to balance at times.
But that's why we really want to support each other during this time.
Exactly. It's all about community. It's all about community and collective consciousness, and you know, that's the journey we're on. So other than that, we will be sending out the newsletter tomorrow, which will have a lightly edited version of this show. Anybody who wants to be on our distribution list, you can email me at johndrew@elevatedplanet.life, or go to our elevatedplanet.life website, where there is a contact page with a free format contact box where you can send us any remarks or anything you want to share with us.
And please like, share, and subscribe this, you know, podcast, this YouTube show, so that it can reach more people.
So I think that is it for this week, Jolé.
Yes, we are done, and we thank you again. We're so grateful to be able to do this work.
Thank you for being here with us today, and thank you for watching us on the recording, for those who make the recording, and do share that love, you know. And again, Dr. Samuel Lee, and to Shlloka for her Body to Being podcast.
Yeah.
Fantastic work. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jolé.
Bye.
Happy holidays. Happy winter
holidays.
solstice and all that.
Yes.
And we'll see you again very soon.